Good morning, afternoon and evening, my crazies. My name's Angela and I'm the Crazy Poppy Lady, and I'd like to welcome you all back to Throwback Friday. Now, this one has come around ever so quickly. This is going to be filled with patterns for you to choose to make for Christmas. So it's coming in at the perfect time of the year, absolutely perfect. Now, the patterns that I will be showing today are not only mine but other creators as well, but they are patterns that I have tried out first. Okay, so the very first one up is the quick intro for this guy here. Okay, now this is the mystery cow from last year. It was last year's 2020 mystery cow. I'll get the right name in a minute. Also known now as a penguin. And so I'm going to show you the intro to that, which lists all of the different yarns you need, and then there will be a link up here to the actual video for you to go over and have a look at if you fancy joining in and making it for this year.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Crazy Poppy Lady's Secret Christmas Crochet Along. Now for this one, it is going to be secret to all of you until you finish the picture what it actually is. So I really hope you enjoy playing crocheting along with me and working out what it is. Now for this one, you are going to need white and black. Now they are a must, okay? You're going to need some saffron or an orange or a dark yellow. Okay, and then you are going to need a light blue and a dark blue. Now these two colours you can change out to either pinks, reds, greens, whatever your favourite, whatever your colour is, or whatever you've got some spare of that you want to use up. But what you do need to do is have two different shades within the same colour. Okay. Other than that, the only other things you're going to need is your faithful 4mm hook, your trusted scissors, a job load of stitch markers, and also your darning needle. But I left that in the other room, so I'll get that later. Right, so let's get on with your pattern.
So as you can see, in regards to the amount of yarn you need, not a great deal really, and you also get the chance to swap out the colours as well. Now the swapping out colours, the A and the B colours of course, are for his scarf and his hat, and also any leftovers you use for the candy cane border. So what I'm going to do now is pop on a couple of pictures by other crazies that have made it as well. Yes, I'm being that cheeky, girls. Now please don't think I'm choosing favourites here with the two photographs that I've chosen. Yes, I did have quite a few more blankets come in with the koala, which have been shown on Whips and Bits throughout the year. As soon as they come in, I show them off. Now the reason I've picked these two is one, because they were the first ones I came across on my hard drive, and two, I'm showing them to you because they are in different colours. One of course is in pinks and the other one's in greens. I'd not had a green before. Right, so our next video up is from the 12 Days of Christmas set. Now this also came out around the same time, and yes, I am wearing a hat. It was cold, not that cold, but it was cold enough to put on a bobble hat, and you may recognise the pattern. It is one from Bag O' Day. It is her houndstooth. Blimey, I can't believe it. I remembered the name of a pattern and creator. Right, but anyway, let's get into this video and let's see what I was jabbering on about, shall we? I would like to welcome you to 12 Days of Christmas. I'm aiming to try and get out to you a video over the next 12 days. Or 24. You know what I'm like. Right, so I'm going to try and get 12 videos out to you this week, this next couple of weeks, to do with Christmas. Now hopefully you've spotted a slight change here. These are the Christmas decorations that I made the very first year I've been crocheting. Now I'd only started crocheting in the October-November time, so these are my very first attempts. Now all of these patterns can be found on YouTube. And what I'm going to do is over the next couple of days I'm going to talk to you about each of them and see if I can remember whether I enjoyed making them or not, or how long they took, and see if I can remember the bits and pieces. It's been a couple of years, so my brain should have caught up by now. Right, so the very first item up, I think, because it's quite a large project and I have a feeling some of you may want to do it, so because of that I'm going to talk to you straight away about Rudolph here. Oh, let's put that back up, shall we? Right, so here is our Rudolph. Yes, he is very floppity. Yes, he has very floppy legs. As I said to you, this is one of the first bigger stuffies that I did. Didn't know how to sew the items together. I just made it following the pattern that is on YouTube, and then ignored everything that she said when it came to sewing it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the details up for that one and for this one, and then I will be able to share some more information with you. Right, so I just searched back in my history. Oh my gosh, that was a long half an hour. Right, so this pattern for this little one here is on YouTube, and it is World Bears. I will put a link in the description box below, and if I can I'll have a pop up here as well. Now the pattern itself and the videos are not in English, okay, but it is called A Reindeer on Crochet. Now it was a crochet along, so there was 4 parts to this one, so the link will take you to part 1. Now my little guy here was made with a pound shop yarn, and he took, if I remember rightly, it was about 100 grams of the light colour, so that was the most I needed was for him there, for like his body and his head. Right, and under 50 for the grey pieces. And then of course I just had some red for the from the Christmas decorations that I managed to use for his nose. So I think he's got a really cute face, this one. Right, so let's just put him back there and I will go over a few more details with you. Now at this point in time I only had my 2 charity shop hooks. One was a 3mm and one was a 3.5. And so to make him I used a 3.5mm hook, which is why I could play around with the DK yarn. The pattern you could make bigger. You could make him so much bigger by using like the big floofy yarn that everybody seems to like to use. But I liked the size he came out. He works wickedly with this tree, and when Liam sees it he knows it's time to leave stuff alone. But don't get me wrong, I did find the pattern challenging, but as I said, that's down to the fact that I haven't been crocheting long enough to really be taking on a challenge like that. But once done I was super chuffed with him, and he comes out every year and he sits down on our mantelpiece like down the bottom, so of course that's where the challenge for Liam is, to leave him alone. Right, so as you noticed I did actually put a link up here on that video. That takes you directly through to the original video, which will then mean that you can look in the description box there for the pattern, because otherwise it's going to take me hours and hours to write up the description for this one, because there are some more patterns coming. So let's go and have a look at day 2 of 12 days of Christmas. Right, so have you noticed what's changed from yesterday's video? I'll give you 30 seconds. I'm finding it hard to stay quiet. Okay, 10. That is all I could do. I'm sorry. I'm just can't do the whole slow video thingamy bob. Right, we have got this little cutie snowman. Now, again, this is another crochet along, and I will pop the details down below. Just give me a second. Now, this little lad, snowman was actually year 2's make, not year 1. I did actually make them the very first year I was crocheting, and I'm just going to put some pictures up. They are drastically bad. See, I told you, they were bad. But this little guy here is my 2nd year, so I actually prefer him with this style button, which isn't actually a button. It is just the eyes that you can get, and I think, if I remember rightly, these are 6mm. So I've used them for the eyes and for his buttons there, because to me they look a lot more like coal than what a button would. Now this pattern again is another crochet along, and it is by this person here. Okay, that's the name of it, and the English section is a Crochet Snowman Part 1 Aragurumi. Now, I'm sorry, I have got no chance of pronouncing the channel name correctly, so as I said, all the details are down there, and there'll be a link up there and down in the drop down box. Right, so Liam's on the bed, he's nice and comfy. I wonder how many videos I can get him into. Now, on top of that, these again were made with my 3mm hook this time, rather than 3.5, and that is the original hat for the pattern, although in the photographs I showed you earlier I tried to make a bonnet, and I'd also made a couple of female ones as well, so they had pink scarves and crazy hats and things, but I can't seem to find the photo for those, thankfully. Now, the thing I absolutely loved about this was there was no worries about having to sit there and count each stitch and then write the pattern down, because the pattern is actually put up on the screen in English for us, so it makes it a heck of a lot easier. It is written in American terms, not English, mind, but other than that, it's super easy to follow along with just a press of pause every few minutes. Isn't he so cute? Well, at least year 2's ones came out absolutely gorgeous. Year 1, oh my gosh, the faces on them, it's no wonder my mates wanted them, because they said, oh, they're so cute, but in fact it wasn't the fact that they were cute, it was the fact that every time they looked at them it made them giggle. So yeah, as I said, those ones are really easy to make, and I think in looking back they only took me a couple of evenings to make, so really quite a nice fast make for you. Right, so let's now get on with day number 3. Let's get on with day 3 of 12 Days of Christmas. Right, so for this one I'm going to grab one of the decorations off the tree. It is going to be this one here. Now you can't really see it that closely there, so here it is. And now this was year 1. Now I've got a couple of different versions of this decoration, but I thought I would introduce the video first and then tell you about the changes that I made. Right, so the pattern is called Crochet Wreath Ornament, and it is by Crouton Crafts. Very simple pattern to follow, really simple, and in his original version you get to use recycled items, which is the plastic section from the top of a milk bottle carton, not the lid, but the little bit that goes underneath it that holds it tight, so that you know whether anyone's broken the seal or not. And what you do is you crochet around that, and that gives you a really sturdy base. And then of course you then add on your white detail, which is a peacock, I think that's how it's pronounced, and then we put on some berries using a French knot. Really lovely, really simple. Now that year I also upgraded it twice. I did the trick around a hair bubble, or a hair elastic as some of you call it. So it meant then that if I was wearing a bun, I could stick it on my bun. But I realised that that worked quite well, but I wanted to upsize it because I've got quite a large tree downstairs, or at least I will have once it's put up. So I did the original base, and then I added another round of double crochet by the looks of it. Yeah, another round of double crochet before adding my peacock. So that is number 2. So as you can see, there is quite a difference in size. Now in the pattern itself, he actually makes he puts a little bow on with red yarn. So when it came to year 2, I decided that these looked quite plain and bland, and I wanted to juzz it up a bit. So my first go was to create a little bow and to add beads instead of the French knots. So I got this one made up. I will have to take photos of these by the looks of it, because it's not coming up too clear. Right, and then I was like, right, no, I need to do something else. That one's alright, but I'm not overly impressed. So I went back to the original design, swapped out the French knots for little red beads, and then added a little bow with, it's like glitzy ribbon, little thin ribbon. Okay, now instead of going around the part of the milk bottle top, I actually bought some of these little wooden rings. They're only small, but I bought those and I crocheted around those as well, so it gave it a lot more stability than what the plastic did. Not only that, I'd bought a job load of them thinking they were going to be big and I could make teething rings, and then realised they'd work well as a pirate earring. So that's why I ended up doing these with them. But I think they hold their own, actually, these ones, so I'm quite chuffed with them. Yes, so, and the other thing I did was I used a glittery white yarn to run the peacocks around the outside, rather than the beige that I'd used previously. Sorry, I'm trying to get it. So yeah, it does make it bounce out more, but I'll let you decide. I will put the pictures up now. Right, so again I used a 3mm on that, and only DK yarn. So they took around 30 minutes or so to create, which, to be honest, for a quick fix for a little gap on your Christmas tree, I think they're a brilliant idea. And the pattern's really simple to follow, and as you saw, it was easy to change it around and create something a bit more personal to you, basically. Now, didn't I do well with that video, showing you all those different versions of the same thing? Right, so let's move straight on now to video number 4. Right, so what are we picking off the tree this time? I think we'll go for the stocking, because hey, everybody loves a little Christmas stocking. Now, this is one of many that I ended up making, and I will pop the pattern up and tell you about it a bit in a minute. But I thought I would... Oh, where's it gone? But I thought I would give you a little giggle first. Right, when I first tried to make this pattern up, I really wasn't paying attention to the video like I really should have been. I got a little bit carried away, and instead of it being this size, it ended up being this size. So it's quite a chunky difference, isn't there? Now, the only difference between them is the fact that I realised I'd made my mistake when I got to about here, which was just before you added the green. Now, it's only meant to be one row of green, but I was looking at it thinking, one row of green's going to make it look really strange. So I made the one row and it just didn't look right, so I ended up making quite a few more rows, and now I just fold it over. So it looks like it is a proper little stocking. Now, I thought I'd done everything correct, but what I'd actually done was I'd mucked up the count right at the beginning when I was turning the toe, or making the toe. So, but otherwise, this bit here is fine, this bit here is fine, this bit here definitely isn't. But hey, it just shows that when you muck up, sometimes ripping it back might not be an option, or you just don't fancy it, so you just play. Just carry on going and see what it turns into. Right, that's him chucked over there. Right, so this, as I said, is the little stocking, and now this pattern is called How to Make a Crochet Mini Stocking, and it is by Whistle and Ivy and Modern Crochet. Now this was a part one of their advent calendar set back in 2016. See, sometimes it's good to look at some old patterns, you never know what you're going to come across. Now, once I realised I was mucking up and being a complete and utter idiot, I went back to the video and I started again, which is why I've now got them that size. Now, I've only got the red and green to show you, but I did get slightly carried away. One of my friend's nan was in a care home and they were having their Christmas fundraiser, so I made a few more in different colours and I sent them out. So here's a photo. I also made a load of Christmas, a load more for Christmas, and chucked them at the family. So I think in total I made around 30. So this is where I think the start of let's make everything in bulk came from. Right, so let's get back to the pattern review. The pattern was really easy to follow once I've got my brain in gear. I again used a 3mm hook, the 3.5mm hook, because at this point I still only had 2 hooks. So I used my 3.5 and DK, and the yarn was the Aldi's yarn, but it was the ones out of the mini packets. So it's the pack where you get 10 50-gram balls in 5 different colours. So yet again, another speedy little make. I think in total they took probably around an hour, and that's when I was on Captain Go Slow. Right, so now for our very last video. It had to be done. I had to throw in a whips, bits and chat. This one I believe is number 32. Right, so next up, let me go for the whips, I think. So of course I've been doing the blanket for the week, but my back's been playing me up a bit, so sitting on the chair in the dining room is a bit of a pain in the bottom, to put it politely, because that's where the pain is. So I've sort of been flitting between the dining room and the lounge where it's more comfortable for me to sit, but of course I can't take my project with me, otherwise everything goes to pot and I forget what row I'm on, what count I'm on and all the rest of it. So I'm running 2 projects at the moment, one for the evenings, which is really for me, and then the blanket for you during the day. So I've already completed my evening one that I showed you part of last week. So I've started a new one now. This is the How to Crochet Slouchy Hat Unisex Houndstooth Beanie from Bag O' Day. It's tutorial of 438. Now I'm only using a 4mm as per normal. I do have other hooks, honest. I've got an entire pack of them, all different sizes, and I've got another 3 different sets, but I just like this one hook. It just sits comfortably in my hand and it now feels like an extension rather than having to get used to a different one. So I've made this, I started making the hat, and the intention was it was going to be for me. Now, I've never done the houndstooth before, but I've always loved the look of it. So I thought, right, I'll give Crystal's hat a go, and hopefully I can do a hat, and then, because of course I'll know how to do the stitch, I can easily knock up a scarf, and I'm thinking some mitts as well. And I have a feeling I might not have to do any thinking on those, because our Crystal's probably already done it for me. So it'll be, ideally, I'm going to try and make the whole set. And so of course I grabbed the nearest yarn to me, which happened to be the Papaya Love that I got from Good Vibes Yarn for about $1.55, I think it is. It might even be $1.45. I'll put the right price below. Now I'm using a maroon and a white because they were the ones closest to me. I really couldn't be bothered to come upstairs. So this is how it's looking at the moment. Let's bring it up a bit closer. Now, as I said, I've never done this stitch before, and for a slouchy hat it's meant to be slouchy, but I've got quite a way to go and it does feel quite small, so I've got a feeling that running a DK weight yarn was maybe not the best idea. As per normal, I do things wrong. So I'm going to finish this one off because it's quite cute, and I will think of something cute to do with it, and then that'll be for a kid. And then I will pull out my full weight yarn that's on the top shelf over there, pull out some colours that I like, and attempt it with a different size hook. But hey, everything's a learning curve, isn't it? Right, so next up was my completed item for the week. Now with this one I used the Baby Azir Softy Plus Baltic Ombre Baltic, sorry. Now this ball was humongous. If you want to see it, it's in the last Good Vibes Yarn unboxing that I did. I will pop a link top and bottom. Now this is a 500 grams or 17.63 ounces, which has 600 meters or 656 yards in it. Wow, it was massive. It was like putting at least two, let me think. Well, basically stick any one of them cakes on top of each other, and there was still a bit of room, and it was wound really tightly. But it did have a bit of a spin on it. Now I've done another video that shows you what it looks like in close detail with different stitches. Again, link up the top and link down the bottom. How many links am I allowed? If I'm not allowed loads, I will just be putting them in the description box below. So here is the finished article. Now I haven't sewn in my ends yet because I hate finishing projects. I hate sewing in ends. Right, so I actually started this from the outside of the ball because there was absolutely no way I was going to be dealing with a yarn bath from the middle, thankfully. So it started off with the darker green. Okay, let me think, where did you see it from? You saw it from there, so yeah, right, so there's the first bit, and I had done to here, so I have put a hook, a stitch marker on, but you probably can't see it because it's so tiddy, and it kept going and kept going, and I got it to there. Now I haven't got the measurements, but once I find my tape measure wherever I've hidden it, I will measure it and I will put the details in. So, and I will also put a nicer picture in once it's taken. I've got to get Liam off the bed first. Right, now this pattern was done by, right, so the pattern for this blanket is not one of mine. It is by a lady called Laura Capetta. Right, it is by, right, it's by a lovely creator called Laura Capetta. I'm so sorry, I'm maluing your surname, honey. I've put the name down here and the link will be down below to her video. It is called How to Crochet a Soft Blanket Fast and Easy, and she does actually use this yarn and the same size hook as me, but it appears that her tension is a lot less. So That's why my one is not as big as hers, but do you know what, I don't care because it's so fluffy and it sits over my legs lovely, so it means then it's not going to be getting in the way of everything. Although yes, I would have liked one that was humongous like hers. But of course this one isn't as humongous, but it is still gorgeous. And the stitch, I love the way that the stitches worked out in the end. And even on the reverse side it looks nice. It's got like a wavy effect to it. So really in my eyes it's one of them ones, it doesn't matter which way round it goes, it looks lovely. Now I'm leaving that on my lap so I can sit here and stroke it because it's so cute. No, I'm sorry Crystal, I only got round to making your hat. I need to go back and finish the set, or at least start them. Right, so as some of you know, behind here I have got a pile of colours. So I had a look at my Signet Everyday Plateau collection, and that hat would look absolutely gorgeous in wine. Okay, I would show it to you, but it's hiding behind there, and if I move that, everything is going to fall down. But trust me, it would look wicked in wine and white. And of course the blanket that I showed you is also in the background of quite a few of those Christmas videos that I've showed you earlier on today, and will be showing you next week as well, because it's what I used as the background behind the Christmas tree. Had you spotted it, I wonder. Right, I'm gonna head off now. I will see you all really soon, so if you can, please stay in and definitely stay safe. Ta-ra for now everybody.